Hello everyone. Today we will talk about binomial nomenclature of microbes, cell theory, and ultrastructure of structure and function of cell wall and cell organelles. So begin with binomial nomenclature of microbes. So what is binomial nomenclature? Binomial nomenclature, it is nothing but naming of microorganisms. So we each and everyone we have our unique name. Likewise, even microorganism, they have their own names which scientists assigned based on their structure and morphology and their functions. So what is binomial nomenclature? So microorganisms, they are scientifically recognized using this binomial nomenclature, that is naming of microorganisms. So binomial nomenclature, they use two words, and that is they refer to the genus and species. So the names assigned to the microorganism, they are in Latin. So it is in Latin. The organisms' names are in Latin, and the first letter of the genus, it is always capitalized. So the first letter of the species name is you have to write it in small letter, and when you type it, it should be italicized, and you can also underline the genus and species separately. So what is binomial nomenclature? It is the formal naming system for living things that all scientists use. So it gives two parts, as I told you earlier, that is genus and the species. The first part is genus and the second part is species. So nomenclature of bacteria refers to the naming, and bacteria and other organisms are named according to the binomial system, and it was introduced by Carl Linnaeus in 1674 to 1748. So both the genus and the species together form the scientific name of the species. So there are some rules for the binomial nomenclature. So first, the rule is all the scientific names of organisms are usually Latin, and hence they are written in italics. They exist two parts of a name. When the names are handwritten, they are underlined or italicized if typed. The name of the genus starts with a capital letter, and the name of the species starts with a small letter. So we have the classification of microorganisms. So classification of organisms into groups. Taxonomy is nothing but classification of living organisms into group. There are two types of classification: phylogenetic classification system and phenetic classification system. So phylogenetic classification system refers to the genetic similarity and evolutionary relatedness, and the phenetic classification systems, they are based on their observable characteristics. You have a species difference, that is a group of microbial strains that share many properties and differ significantly from other groups of strains, that is the species difference. So what is strain? A culture derived from a single parent that differ in structure or metabolism from other cultures of that species, it is a strain. So you need to understand what is the species difference and the strain. So species difference is nothing but a group of microbial strains that share many properties and differ significantly from other group of strains, other species difference. So what is strain? A culture derived from a single parent but that differ in structure or metabolism from other cultures of that species, it is a strain. So what is taxa? It is order. Nomos, it is a law, that is rules. So as I told, Carl Linnaeus, he identified and classified the organism according to the specific criteria. So taxonomy consists of three parts: that is classification, identification, and nomenclature. So this is the hierarchical arrangement of taxonomy, that is starts with the domain, that is a broader group, bacteria, phylum, protobacteria, class, that is alpha. Under protobacteria you have alpha protobacteria and beta protobacteria, that is the class. Order, you have enterobacterials and you have family Enterobacteriaceae, and genus Shigella, and the species is species Boydii, species Dysenteriae, and species Flexneri. These are the species. It is enterobacterials. It is you have a one mistake here, and it's not enterobacterials, it is enterobacterials and Enterobacteriaceae. We have domain, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So arrangement of groups, it is based on their mutual similarity or evolutionary relatedness. So it is ordering of organisms into groups. So the Linnaeus developed the natural classification based on their anatomical characteristics. So domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So based on their similarities in ribosomal RNA, living organisms are classified into three domains, that is bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. So there are three domains. Bacteria, that is true bacteria. Archaea, it's odd bacteria that live in extreme environment. Eukarya have a nucleus and organelles like humans, animals, and plants. Binomial nomenclature, genus and specific epithet, that is species. Example, Escherichia coli, Salmonella typhi. So the rules was set by international committees. So there are two committees: International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, Bacteriological Code, and Burgess Manual. So there are some techniques for determining microbial taxonomy and phylogeny. So there are two two techniques, that is classical characteristics and molecular characteristics. So under classical characteristics you have morphological characteristics, physiological and metabolical characteristics, ecological characteristics, and genetic analysis. Molecular characteristics, that is you have nucleic acid based composition, nucleic acid hybridization, nucleic acid sequencing, genomic fingerprinting, and amino acid sequence. So this is nothing but the binomial nomenclature of microbes. So let's start with cell theory. So the cell theory, it is the concept proposed by Sladen and Swan. It is very important 5 mark. It is a concept done by Sladen and Swan to explain the nature of cells. So cell theory, it is nothing but it is the historic theory. So it is universally accepted that all living organisms are made up of cells, and they are the basic structural and organizational unit of all organisms, and that all cells come from pre-existing cells. So it is the historical theory, universally accepted, and it is nothing but all organisms are made up of cells, and all cells come from pre-existing cells. So it is a concept proposed by Sladen in 1838 and Swan in 1839 to explain the nature of cells. Cell theory states that living organisms are made up of cells. Cells are the basic unit and structure in all organisms, and also the basic unit of reproduction. We have a salient features of cell theory. So these are the features of cell theory. It says the cells are organisms. All plants and animals are composed of an assemblage of cells. The cells arise from pre-existing cells. The activities of an organism are the outcome of the activity of its individual cells. All living things are made up of one or more cells. All living cells arise from pre-existing cells by cell division. So this is the salient features of cell theory. This nothing but the cells are organisms. All plants and animals are composed of an assemblage of cells. The cells arise from the pre-existing cells. The activities of an organism or the outcome of the activity of its individual cells. All living things are made up of one or more cells. All living cells arise from pre-existing cells by cell division. So what is cell? It is the fundamental unit of structure and function in all organisms, and the energy flow occurs within cells. The cell contains nucleus which controls all activities of that cell. Hereditary information, that the DNA, is passed on from one cell to another cell. All cells have the basic chemical composition. You have objection to cell theory, that is the following are the objections against cell theory. So it says certain organisms are not made up of cells, that is example viruses, they are living chemicals, so it is not made up of cells. Certain organisms don't possess nucleus, like bacteria and blue-green algae doesn't have nucleus. Most viruses have no protoplasm and nucleus, but only DNA or RNA as a genetic material. Some viruses, they doesn't have protoplasm and nucleus, but they have only DNA and RNA as a genetic material. The bacteria and blue-green algae have no true cells, and in them the nuclear material does not remain bounded by the plasma membrane and have direct contact with that of cytoplasm. So these are the objection to cell theory, but it is widely accepted, that is universally accepted by everyone. So it is very important. 5 marks, cell theory. Along with this, you have protoplasm theory and organismal theory. Protoplasm theory, it was proposed by Hertwig in 1892. This theory states that the cell contains a viscous, colorless, translucent colloidal substance called protoplasm. The protoplasm means meaning first substance. That is, proto means first, plasm is substance. Felix Dujardin was the first man to observe protoplasm, and he named it as sarcode. So before the name of the protoplasm exists, it was called as sarcode. So the protoplasm is also called as substance of life or living matter. The protoplasm has a vital force for life. And you have organismal theory. The organismal theory was proposed by Lawrence in 1960. It states that the cells in an the organismal theory states that the body of all multicellular organisms is a continuous mass of cytoplasm which remains divided incompletely into small centers, the cells, for the various biological activities. So this is protoplasm theory and organismal theory, and you have germ plasm theory, which have shared the notes with you. So you don't have the continuation for germ plasm theory, but I have shared the notes for germ plasm theory. You need to know about these theories, protoplasm, organismal theory and germ plasm theory. You might get it in 2 marks, but cell theory also you might get it in 2 marks, or you might get the cell theory in 5 marks. So we have discussed binomial nomenclature and cell theory. Let's discuss about the ultrastructure and function of cell wall and cell organelles. As we discussed earlier, we have discussed about prokaryotes and eukaryotes. It is so now we will discuss about the structure of cell wall, ultrastructure of cell wall, and their role and their functions of each and every organelles. So ultrastructure of cell wall and cell organelles. So you have this is the structure, very important structure you need to draw. You need to be very thorough with this structure. So you have mitochondria, you have cytoplasm, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, nuclear envelope, you have cell wall, plasma membrane, ribosomes, chloroplast, Golgi apparatus, and peroxisomes, and you have plasmodesmata. So this is the ultrastructure of cell wall, and I have shared the notes, that is ultrastructure of cell wall and cell organelles. So cell membrane, it is composed of lipids that are arranged in bilayer, that is 2 layers. The lipid component, it is mainly composed of phosphoglycerides. Later it was found that protein is also present in cell membrane. Ratio of protein and lipids varies in different cells. You have membrane protein may be integral or peripheral. Integral protein remains buried in the membrane, but peripheral protein lies on the surface. So Singer and Nicholson proposed fluid mosaic model. According to this model, the fluid nature of lipid enables lateral movement of protein within the bilayer of lipids. You have active transport and passive transport. The transport of cells, the transport involves an expenditure of energy by the cells in active transport. The cells do not spend energy in passive transport. So active transport occurs against the concentration gradient. The transport is always along the concentration gradient. It is a rapid process. It is a passive transport. It is a slow process. So this is the, you have the functions of each and every organelles. So it is very important questions. You will definitely get it in your 10 marks in your semester exam. After this I have a video, an animation video. You will clearly understand when you see it by the animation. So the main function of plasma membrane, it is the transport of molecules across the cells. So the movement of water from higher concentration to lower concentration by diffusion is called as osmosis. The cell wall present in plant cells and fungi. All algae have cell wall made up of cellulose and galactones and minerals like calcium carbonate. In other plants, it is consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, and proteins. The primary cell wall of any plant is capable of growth, which diminish in mature cells. Secondary cell wall is formed on in the inner side of the cells. Plasmodesmata connects the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. We have endoplasmic reticulum. They are the tubular structures scattered in the cytoplasm. We have two types in this rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum bears ribosome on its surface and it is involved in protein synthesis and secretion. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not bear ribosome on its surface and it is involved in lipid synthesis and steroidal hormones. So Golgi apparatus was first observed by Camillo Golgi in 1898 near nucleus. They consist of many flat disc-shaped sacs or cisternae stacked parallel to each other. So Golgi apparatus performs the function of packaging of materials and its transportation. A number of proteins synthesized by ribosomes are modified in cisternae of Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is the site for synthesis of glycoproteins and glycolipids. So ribosome, it is involved in protein synthesis. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it is involved in lipid synthesis. A rough endoplasmic reticulum involved in protein synthesis. And lysosomes, they are membrane bound vesicular structures formed by the process of packaging in the Golgi apparatus. They are rich in hydrolytic enzymes like lipase, protease, carbohydrates, active at acidic pH. These enzymes are capable of digesting carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. You have vacuoles. They are membrane bound space found in cytoplasm containing water and excretory product. They are bound by single membrane. They form contractile vacuole and food vacuole in many organisms. And you have mitochondria. It is double membrane bound structure with the outer membrane and inner membrane dividing into two compartments. The inner membrane forms a number of infoldings called cristae towards the matrix. Two membranes have their own specific the two membranes have their own specific enzyme. So mitochondria, they are the site for aerobic respiration. They are the powerhouse of the cells, and they are also contain circular DNA molecules and a few RNA molecules, ribosome, and components of protein synthesis. Plastids are found in plant cells and in euglenoids. Under plastids, you have chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. Chloroplast contains chlorophyll and carotenoids. Chromoplast contain carotene and xanthophylls. Leucoplast contains colorless plastids. So chloroplasts contain chlorophyll that traps solar energy for photosynthesis. Chromoplasts provides yellow, orange, and red colors to different parts of plants. Leucoplasts, they are colorless plastids that store food and carbohydrates, oils, and proteins. Chloroplasts, they are double membrane structures. They are the space limited by inner membrane is called stroma. Thylakoids are present in stroma as stacks like the piles of coins like grana. So eukaryotic cells have ATS ribosomes. They have granular structure with two subunits. And you have centrosome. It is an organelle containing two cylindrical structures called centrioles. Each centriole is made up of 9 fibrils of tubulin protein. Central part of centriole is called hub and peripheral fibrils are called spikes. Nucleus have highly extended elaborate nucleoproteins. Nucleoprotein fibers called chromatin, nuclear matrix, and nucleoli. The outer membrane is continuous with endoplasmic reticulum and bears ribosomes for protein synthesis. So this is nothing but the ultrastructure and function of cell wall and cell organelles. I am going to show a video which it is an animation of the cells, so you will clearly understand about it.
Cell structure and function. Cytology is the branch of science which deals with the structure, function, and chemical reactions going on inside the cells. Learning objectives. Identify the structure and functions of basic component cells. Differentiate between animal cells and plant cells. Human beings are complex organisms made of trillions of cells which vary in their size and structure. They are organized into different forms and carry out specific functions. Improved technology has helped biologists to study the organism's cellular structure and function. They have even found ways to modify cellular structures and manipulate gene expressions for the enhancement of human health and environment. Robert Hooke discovered cell in the mid-17th century with a simple microscope and marked the genesis of an exciting era of cellular biology. A cell is the smallest unit of life and the building block of all living organisms. Understanding what makes up the cell and how a cell works is fundamental to all the biological sciences, such as biotechnology, genetic engineering, and molecular biology. So let's begin with whole organisms and work down to the molecular level. Organisms are made up of the organ system, such as the digestive system pictured here. Each of these organ systems are comprised of individual organs which work together in a coordinated manner. The organs such as liver, stomach, small and large intestines are a part of the digestive system. All these organs are made up of tissues. Tissues are groups of similar cells that perform the same function, such as the epithelial tissue and the smooth muscle tissue pictured here. Tissues are made up of cells, and the cells are the smallest units of life. Finally, cells contain organelles and molecules such as DNA. Cells are classified into two types on the basis of their structure: prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are the simpler forms of cells which make up unicellular organisms like bacteria and cyanobacteria. Prokaryotic cells lack membrane-bound nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. The DNA, which is usually a single circular molecule, floats inside the cytoplasm of the cell. On the other hand, eukaryotic cells make up complex multicellular organisms like plants and animals. The eukaryotic cellular structure is more complex as pictured here. They have a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Animal cells are the foundation of all animals. Let's examine an animal cell more closely. Animal cells are protected by a phospholipid bilayer that surrounds the cell and functions as a gate that allows the entry and exit of molecules from the cell. In the center of the cell lies the nucleus. Nucleus acts as a brain of the cell. Each and every metabolic activity of the cell is regulated by the nucleus. It contains the DNA in the form of chromatin and a nucleolus. Cells contain a number of small double membrane-bound organelles called mitochondria. They are the powerhouses of the cell and carry out aerobic cellular respiration to generate ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. Ribosomes are small globular bodies found in large numbers inside the cells. They are known as the protein factories of the cells as they carry out the synthesis of proteins inside the cells. Ribosomes may be free or attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum forms an interconnected network of tubules and vesicles and functions to transport proteins throughout the cells. Golgi apparatus is the system of membranous sacs called cisternae. The purpose of Golgi apparatus is to transport secretory vesicles and form lysosomes. Lysosomes are the suicidal bags of the cell. They contain digestive enzymes and perform intracellular digestion. Another type of eukaryotic cell is the plant cell. Both the types of cells are very similar, but there are three distinct differences. Firstly, plant cells have a tough cell wall around their cell membrane, while animal cells lack a cell wall. Secondly, plant cells have a large central vacuole, whereas animal cells may have a few small ones. Vacuoles are single membrane-bound organelles which are required for the purpose of storage and waste accumulation. The final difference is the presence of chloroplast in the plant cells. Chloroplasts are the green-colored double membrane-bound organelles which carry out photosynthesis for the plant.